So a friend of mine, we had a sort of like a really serious disagreement that I just couldn't believe that like strikes something in me. And I feel like this is a conversation that needs to be talked about, because I feel like so many people make so many wrong decisions by trying to make a wrong right, if you will. So basically, I know that there's a lot of people that got married out of, we had a baby, we trying to make it right, we want to build a family, and we got married because she got pregnant and we were trying to do the right thing. I think that is the worst thing you could do. I think that is the worst thing you could do. Why? Because ultimately, you are incompatible to this person. You do not like this person. You argue, you fight, and you don't build a real solid foundation for family. I feel like a lot of people, like, let's say, you were forced out of your house because, let's say your mom told you you gotta marry this man or I'm gonna kick you out. Well, ultimately, the friend, the guy she knew, he was gonna get kicked out if he did not marry her, which I think is insane. To force someone into an adult decision because they created a child is insane. Because ultimately, what is it going to lead him to? Trying to find a job, be an adult way faster than he actually even knew what adulting was. Rather than fixing the right and actually just having your son stay with you for a while so he can get a good job that he actually likes, follow his dream after making a child, and actually build a life with someone he actually loves. If you force someone to grow up because you want to make a right wrong, you literally force it. The reason why I'm so passionate about stuff like this is because so many people get forced into marriages, into fatherhood, adulthood, motherhood way too quickly, out of trying to make a right or wrong out of a right out of a wrong. When you get married out of anything other than what God told you to do, you are out of alignment with your purpose. Let's be very clear about that. If you got married to a man that God did not tell you to get married to, just because you want to save embarrassment from the church, save embarrassment from the community, like whatever that was, that God did not have anything to do with that. You didn't consider God, you considered people. That's my issue. Because then you put yourself in a frustrating situation where you're constantly wondering, why did I do this? I feel like a lot of people really go wrong when they try to make a wrong right in these types of decisions. Because ultimately, you are not in the place where you really want to be. If you don't know this person, I don't care if God was not considered, and I don't mean the church, because a lot of times people try to say it was God, but it was really people in the church that pushed judgment onto you, and you're trying to make a right wrong or a wrong right by making another wrong decision. That's the truth. If this is not your God-ordained person, and God himself did not tell you to marry him, you made a wrong decision. Out of good intentions, might I add. You may have had the right intentions to make a family, do right by this person, do right by this woman or man. Because I feel like when you think about it like this, if you don't like this person and he don't like you, y'all gonna be arguing. And then when you have a child that sees all arguing, all fighting, nothing working, the father's overworked and overwhelmed, the mother is overworked and overwhelmed, you raise a child to believe marriage is just a bunch of hatred, people that hate each other, which then he goes out or she goes out and finds a partner that don't really like him and don't really like her. And then also, they don't talk about sex because the one decision that they made change their entire life. And it literally just becomes an entire mess. Like, I just feel like people, they really missed the ball when it came to things like this. They literally tried to justify, I had sex with the wrong person, got pregnant, and we should get married. No, you shouldn't. You should raise that child and co-parent. On top of the only thing that you know about God is that a pastor or people of God told me we should get married because this is the right thing to do, which is really dictatorship. And God is not anything. He's not a dictator. He ain't gonna force you to do nothing you don't want to do. And if you only know God to be a dictator, therefore you won't have a relationship with him because you believe he forced you to do something. It's so much that goes into this types of stuff. That's why I believe you should really follow God when you're trying to seek marriage. And if you sought God and it didn't work out, because whatever happened, you've done all you could do. But if you are doing anything outside of what God is telling you, and it's people really, because really be people. And people ain't God. Please don't get that mixed. On top of that, you make the very uncomfortable conversation about sex. You make sex this really scary, horrible thing that God did not design because you had to make a huge decision and change your entire life off of sex. When you just didn't know how to control your hormones, or you had sex a little too early, or whatever may have you. But that's why I believe a lot of people ain't talked about sex with their children, because either they've been traumatized by it or their life completely changed by it. And there was so much shame wrapped around it that they didn't even want to talk about it. It's like, they're going to figure it out. I don't believe in that type of mentality. I feel like the person, when you consider marriage, consider God. Pray, fast, and make sure you know that you know. And even when you seek that right person, it doesn't mean it's always going to work out. But at least you literally considered God. I'm done. On top of that, you make the very uncomfortable conversation about sex. You make sex this really scary, horrible thing that God did not design because you had to make a huge decision and change your entire life off of sex. When you just didn't know how to control your hormones, or you had sex a little too early, or whatever may have you. But that's why I believe a lot of people ain't talked about sex with their children, because either they've been traumatized by it or their life completely changed by it. And there was so much shame wrapped around it that they didn't even want to talk about it. It's like, they're going to figure it out. I don't believe in that type of mentality. I feel like the person, when you consider marriage, consider God. Pray, fast, and make sure you know that you know. And even when you seek that right person, it doesn't mean it's always going to work out. But at least you literally considered God. I'm done.